Yes, good afternoon, Professor. Group 7 here with a presentation for the Mount Everest simulation. Uh, our group consists of myself, Yuvraj, who was given the role of leader in this simulation, Karthik, who was the physician, Anu, who was the photographer, Emre, he was the marathoner, and Lorena, our environmentalist. And now, Professor, we can also take a look at the content of our presentation. Uh, the presentation would cover the description of the simulation, uh, our group members, the simulation journey, and our team dynamics, and the day information would also be covered in that. The decision making, common information effect, and the decision bias, impact on the solution finding, leadership and decision making, and lastly, learned lessons and their applications and the references. Thank you. And now, Professor, moving on to the description of the Mount Everest simulation. Professor, the Mount Everest simulation is developed by Harvard Business School and it focuses on teamwork, decision making, team dynamics, and solution finding. It is a simulation that is a 7 day journey from the base camp to the summit of the Mount Everest. And from the base camp, we move to camp number one, then camp number two, camp three, camp four, and from camp four, finally, we ascend to the summit of Mount Everest. And that is the end of our journey. And during this journey, we are faced by numerous number of challenges, and such as monitoring the weather of the next day, of the next camp. We have to monitor the weather and make predictions, and we have to make the weather predictions. Another one is climbing speed for each climber. Professor, in the simulation, not every team member is a skilled climber, so each team member has a different climbing speed. So we have to consider the time it would take for each member to climb to the next camp. And then, Professor, we have the medicine and the food. Professor, we have to continuously monitor the food and the medicine supplies because we cannot carry too much with us. We also have to manage our medicine supplies because we do not have much medicine with us. Then we have if communication among the team members. Then, Professor, there needs to be a effective communication for better decision making between the team. Information needs to be shared among the team so we can make better decisions. Also, which takes us to the next point, that is conflict resolution. With effective communication, we can also uh, resolve conflicts very effectively. Then we have prioritizing the needs of our team members. We have to continuously monitor the health of our team members. And we have to see if any uh, team members' health is at risk and what medication do they require. Or we have to make decisions like, uh, do we have to stay at a certain camp so their health gets better. And last but not the least, Professor, teamwork. This activity, this simulation, emphasis on teamwork, how the team dynamics are, how well we can work together as a team, and how our decisions can, and everything, how our decisions can lead to a good journey. Thank you. And now, Professor, we would like to give an overview of the climb. Mount Everest is at an elevation of almost 30,000 feet above sea level, and it is the highest point on Earth. Climbing the Mount Everest requires great teamwork because of the extreme weather conditions and the dangers that it possesses. Uh, the journey starts in Kathmandu, Nepal, and requires every team to cross the Khumbu ice falls. After which, every team makes their way up to Camp 1, 2, and 3, which are already established, and they finally enter the death zone. Uh, and we call it the death zone because of the high altitudes. The oxygen level is very low, and every climber has to use oxygen tanks and supplement oxygens because of the high altitude. And to reach the summit, and each climber has to leave camp 4 during the night. uh, it is a difficult journey which requires quick decision making, analyzing every aspect, and good communication between the team. And once the team reaches the summit, they all have few minutes to observe, to look upon their journey, to celebrate before they have to descend down. Because of the high altitudes, it is not suggested to stay for very longer because of very less oxygen supply. Thank you. And now, Professor, here is the overview of the common information that was being displayed to each of us and that was being shared among the group. If we look at the left side, Professor, the upper image that we have, that is the weather, and that is the weather information that we had all access to. We can see that it shows us the yesterday's weather, the today's weather, and also tomorrow's weather. And based on this weather, we had to make the weather predictions for the next day and for the next camp as well. Below that, Professor, we have our supply information. We can see, as the days went by, how much supplies we went through. And on the right side, Professor, we can see that it shows us the hiking speed of our different team members. In this photo, Professor, it shows the day 7 hiking speed, and we can see our different speeds. Thank you.
And then me, Lorena, I would like to explain the simulation journey and team dynamics part. So, first, we would like to start with our team's journey towards the summit. Our journey consisted of going from the base camp to Camp 1 and then from Camp 1 to upward towards the summit. We would like to give a detailed day wise account of our climb to the summit and how the decisions we took along the way affected our journey and affected us as a team. So, first, we started our day one of the 6 day climb of the Mountain Everest and base camp. At base camp, we share our health status and look at the vital information. We looked at the weather and our supplies before we made any decisions as a team. After considering everything, we made a decision to climb to Camp 1. At day 2, we started our day at Camp 1, and our marathoner had made the correct weather prediction before leaving base camp. Again, at Camp 1, we analyzed our health status and checked our supplies again. After analyzing every aspect, we decided to climb towards Camp 2. Then we start our day 3 of the climb at Camp 2. As we start gaining more altitude, we start to face the difficulties of the climb, most importantly being the shortage of oxygen at high altitudes. We were at risk of inducing some form of AMS, which experienced climbers are also at risk of encountering. Further, the weather at Camp 2 was more than what was predicted. Then we continue to monitor our health status and our supplies. However, our photographer Anu started to experience a decline in her health. As the decline in health was not drastic or severe, we decided to climb towards Camp 3. Although we made the decision to climb further, it did not cost us the next day. At day 4, even though we made the decision to climb to Camp 3 as a team, we neglected a team member's health. Anna started experiencing symptoms of AMS, and because this information was not adequately shared, our physician could not treat her and she had to treated by another climbing group. This resulting in us losing out on a bonus point. Also, the weather conditions at Camp 3 turned out to be more severe than predicted.
Hello, my name is Anu Devi and the student ID is 200553818. With the completion of 3 days of stimulation, we proceeded towards day 4. Further, at the Camp 3 also presented us with an additional challenge. We got informed that a short section of rock between Camp 3 and Camp 4 has been damaged. The damaged section is the yellow band, a rocky outcropping with exposed rock face. Also, at this point of the climb, we all started to see a decline in our health. We calculated a certain amount of rope and decided to climb towards Camp 4. On day 5, the length of the rope turned out to be short, and our matron, Amre, and physician Karthik could not complete the climb and suffered severe injuries. Only our leader, environmentalist, and photographer I completed the climb to Camp 4. Both our marathoner and physician had to be rescued and were taken to the base camp. This also resulted in us losing a bonus point. As we progressed, the dangers and the difficulties of the climb also increased. On day 5, between Camp 4 and the summit, laid the Hillary Step, which is 850 vertical meter above Camp 4. The summit is just 100 vertical meters above Hillary Step. The danger was not Hillary Steps itself, but the calculating at what time to leave Camp 4 for the final climb, with also considering everyone's speed of climbing. We also had to make sure that we reach the summit and reach back at Camp 4 before the last light. After considering everyone's climbing speed, we made a decision to leave Camp 4 and leave for the summit at 10:30 pm. This decision was also made after looking at the times when Hillary steps were the most busiest so as to avoid the congestion. However, before we made our final climb, we had to stay an extra day at Camp 4 so that our environmentalist could collect the garbage at Camp 4. Although we had to stay an extra day at Camp 4 on 6th day, we correctly calculated the latest we could leave Camp 4 for the summit. So as a result, we all received one bonus point. This weather was also predicted correctly for day 6. The altitude also started to take a toll on our health, but staying one extra day allowed for a small recovery. After analyzing everything, we decided to ascend to the summit. On day 7th, we made it to the summit and reached the end of our journey that started at base camp. Overall, we scored 12 points out of possible 20 and achieved 43% of the team goals. Although we had our ups and downs, we completed the climb and finished our journey as a team. About sharing information. Most of the information we shared by WhatsApp groups. All the information that was shared by the text, all the essential information, the individual day information, health status was being shared among each other. There were also some instances when shared information was prioritized over unshared information, and they did have an impact on the decisions that we made as a team, and they also impacted the outcomes. One of these instances was during day 4, when we had to calculate the length of rope that would be required to safely fix the yellow band between Camp 3 and Camp 4. Although the information was shared, the length still fell short. On other instance was during day 5, when we had to calculate the latest time to leave Camp 4 to ascend to the summit. The vertical speed of all the members were shared and a more calculated decision was taken.
Also, we would like to share the common information effect manifested during simulation. It can be analyzed that clearly affected the decisions of the team during the simulation because at the beginning We focused more on the information that all the members had and did not take advantage of each member's unique knowledge. For example, when predicting certain weather conditions, someone had a particular goal, or if someone had poor health to continue climbing. We all had access to information about the weather, hiking speed of each member, supplies, a diverse map from which we realized that we were focusing on common information as the main objective of reaching the summit. However, we later realized that we were not taking advantages of the individual perspectives and goals of each team member. So we transitioned for making one-dimensional decisions to more open and active decision making, considering the detailed opinions of each member. This allowed our expedition to continue successfully. We also noticed that there was a bias for preference consistent information when each member sought information that supported their opinions and not information that contradicted their objectives. Finally, on day 4, we realized that it is important to promote an environment of openness and objectivity that encourage members to consider other perspectives, preferences, and decisions, and thus prioritize the individual goals of each member in addition to the common goals of the team.
Now, Professor, I would like to talk about my role that was assigned to me in the in the simulation. I was assigned the role of the leader for the simulation, who is the most skilled climber in the group, and who has also climbed the summit of Mount Everest 5 times, and he has reached the summit of all the 8,000 meter peaks, with 14 being in total. Professor, in this simulation, we had team goals and we also had individual goals that we had to accomplish. And out of those team goals, I did accomplish four of the. We had six team goals, and out of those six team goals, I accomplished four of them. First of all, I reached the summit. I avoided rescue, and all the climbers reached the summit. A professor for this was a team goal, and we were given 1 point each, and we were given 3 points in total because three of our team members made it to the summit, and it was avoid rescue because three team members made it to the summit, and we got 3 points for it. And we have I also failed two tasks, which was the team stays together through Camp 4, and the other one was the team stays together through to the summit. Overall, Professor, I achieved 60% of my personal goals and 43% of my team goals. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Emre. I am marathoner. I will tell you a little about myself and my experiences. The marathoner has limited experience climbing mountains, but it is in top physical condition. Also, having asthma is a disadvantage for me. During the climb, I fell and I broke my leg because my rope is broken. I had to go back on day 5. I completed the Hillary Step Challenge.
Now, me, Lorena, I will talk about my role that was environmentalist who is dedicated to clean up, comfort, and preserving nature. I accomplished several personal goals, including avoiding rescue and spending an extra day at Comfort to clean. I was able to achieve 71% of my personal goals and 33% of team goals. The environmentalist is well known in Italy as the country's most accomplished mountaineer. Successfully reached the summit of Mount Everest twice. One of the pet projects involves complete the cleanup of a polluted river in Italy.
Management of the decision-making process. At the start of the project, Our leader established a clear decision-making procedure. He promoted open communication and participation from all team members, allowing everyone to offer their ideas and viewpoints. The team's leader established regular team meetings so everyone could discuss options, review progress, and reach decision. Fairness. The team leader used a democratic decision-making process to give everyone an equal chance to express their opinions. To promote a collaborative environment, they encouraged brainstorming sessions and discussion. The leader was open to other suggestions and frequently requested a vote or consensus when several options were put forward. The team leader employed a democratic decision-making process, ensuring that every team member had an equal opportunity to express their opinions. They encourage open communication, brainstorming sessions, and discussion to promote a collaborative environment. The team's leadership style positively impacts decision making, group cohesion, and effectiveness. A democratic approach encourages open communications and diverse viewpoints, leading to informed and wise decisions. The leader's dedication to creating a physically secure environment fosters trust and collaboration among team members. This increased productivity and commitment the project success. The leader embraced cognitive conflict as an opportunity for personal growth. They encourage productive discussions and diverse viewpoints to yield the best results. This approach led to better decision making, challenging accepted wisdom, and considering various perspectives. Effective conflict. The team leader actively managed effective conflict, recognizing its potential to hinder collaboration and decision making. Open communication was promoted to address any issues, and interpersonal conflict were quickly resolved. By fostering a positive team environment, the leader minimized effective conflict, ensuring emotional disagreements didn't impede progress.
Importance of communication. The simulation highlighted the crucial part that effective communication plays in team dynamics team that encourage open and honest communication typically experience higher level of trust and cohesion as well as better decision making. Better result can be achieved through regular team meetings, active listenings, and encouraging all team members to share their thoughts. The second one is making inclusive decisions. It is essential to involve every team members in decision making. Process teams that value different viewpoints and practice characteristic decision making are more likely to consider option which result is more creative as well as better decisions. Impact of leadership. Effective leadership has a big impact on team performance. A good leader establish clear objectives, give guidance, and foster a positive environment. All team members are encouraged to participate by an inclusive and fair leader who also effectively manage conflicts and create a physiology secure environment. And the second one is applying these lessons to actual teamwork situations.
Encourage participation. Team leaders should actively encourage everyone to participate. Every individual input should be valued and taken into consideration in order to foster a sense of team ownership. Promote diversity. Assemble members of the team who have various backgrounds, experience, and areas of expertise. Diverse viewpoints enhance conversations and produce more solid decisions. Invest in communication skills. Teaching team members effective communication skills can promote greater cooperation and mutual understanding. It makes sure that everyone has a chance to be heard and that ideas are expressed clearly. Strategies to combat the common information effect and information bias that is consistent with preference. Rotate decision making roles, distribute among team members the responsibility for making important decisions. This method minimizes the possibility of preference, consistence, bias, taking control of the decision making process by ensuring the various perspectives are taken into account in a variety of situations. External input invite outsiders to take part in discussions about making decisions or look for outside expertise. External viewpoints can challenge internal bias and provide fresh insight results in more well-rounded decisions.
Evidence-based decision making. Emphasize the use of data and evidence for informed decisions. By focusing and objective information, teams can mitigate preference bias and make more logical choices.